Hello and welcome to Beyond the Talking Points with Josh Jennings and David Riley. Tonight, of course, we have State Senator Janice Bowling on the phone with us. We'll also be talking to Johnny Carson with the veterans, the VFW here about Monday's Memorial Day services. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. Senator Bowling, have we got you on the line?
I am on the line. It's good to hear from y'all in South Pittsburgh.
Well, thank you very much for being with us on the show. I'm going to go ahead and jump right in because I've got many things I'm curious about. First of all, let's hit the high points of the news lately. We've received the letter, or the local education agencies received the letter from Department of Justice and Department of Ed asking, or basically threatening our funding based on Title IX and transgender being recognized and them allowed to use the facilities of their choice. And can you kind of explain your response to that, the letter that you wrote to the Attorney General?
I certainly will, David. When I found that had been done on May the 13th, I said it was appropriate. It was Friday, May the 13th. But to hear that, I was so incredulous. I could not believe it. And so immediately I wrote a letter and called my office in Nashville and transcribed it to Megan and had her get it on the letterhead and all typed up and everything. And I will be honest with you, I had to do it about the third draft because I was so upset that someone would think that they could rewrite a word, redefine a word that had been settled law. Sex, I don't think there's any doubt when a child is born, you say it is a boy or it is a girl. And then that goes on their birth certificate, and it's DNA determined. It's not that the parents said, well, I want this one to be a boy, and I want this to be a girl. It is what they see it is when it's born. and so we know what sex is. Transgender does not equal the same definition. There's no DNA involved there. And to totally rewrite a settled law with one sweep of the pen and then to bully our LEAs was just unconscionable. That in their letter they even said, this letter has no force of law, but if you don't follow it, we'll withhold your money.
Right.
Now, the last time I heard, we don't want bullies in our schools, and we certainly don't want a bully to bully our LEAs. And
right.
So in my letter, I essentially said that when the Constitution or the law do not result in the advancement of the far left social agenda, they seem to resort to their preferred tactic, bullying. Bullying for the purpose of withholding money and bullying through their unique deployment of mobocracy. And it seems to be their interchangeable weapons in the arsenal used to try to achieve an assumed unilateral authority. So I did ask our Attorney General to write a letter and to join other sovereign states, North Carolina, Mississippi, Oklahoma, and Texas at that time, had already filed legal arguments against that federal overreach. So I asked them to please join and to create directives that would show that our LEAs did not have to comply with that quote-unquote guidance letter.
Yep. Senator, I have a question. My understanding that the Attorney General in Tennessee had originally put out an opinion that Title IX funding could be at jeopardy, but he's come back on that opinion now. Is that correct?
That is correct, and that emphasizes the part. And I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but when an Attorney General offers an opinion on things that's pretty controversial and there's no settled law, many of us look at that as just that. He has an opinion, I have an opinion, you have an opinion.
Oh,
now,
so not...
As the Attorney General, you would think that his opinion should have more basis in law, the understanding of the law, but none of us agreed with his opinion on that law that we were considering in Nashville.
Okay.
Because you can't rewrite it. You just can't rewrite sex or race or...
That is certainly, that the law is open to interpretation. That's why we go all the way up to the Supreme Court.
That's right.
Because everybody has a different of opinion on the interpretation of that particular law. So, but he has changed his stance, his opinion. He has changed his opinion because he joined the lawsuit.
Yes.
I see.
He totally changed it, and he, in his letter, which he sent to my office yesterday, in which they joined it, he said that that they had altered the understood meaning of Title IX and had changed the meaning of that word sex that's settled in law to something that is just based on feelings. And we are a nation that has to operate under the rule of law, and that gives us all equal standing under the law, but it doesn't mean that the law then has to conform to our whim, our feelings. We have to live under the law, not vice versa.
Because that is very interesting that you bring that up, because I didn't realize until I read the Department of Justice letter that it actually can be determined, according to their understanding, it can be determined by the student themselves. It doesn't need any other clarification from a parent. It doesn't need any clarification from a doctor. It doesn't. So the student can simply walk in the school one day and say, I am of the gender that I was not born with, and it had to be honored according to the letter that the Department of Justice sent.
Absolutely no validation, absolutely no confirmation, absolutely nothing but a feeling of the day. And it could change tomorrow. I mean, because there was nothing that was permanent with it, and certainly there was no DNA evidence of it. And quite honestly, the part of them going into the bathroom and going to the bathroom of their choice, that was the collateral damage, which was significant, but the direct assault was against the rule of law and the meaning of the Constitution and states' rights and local rights under the state to make these determinations. There was absolutely no federal law that gave them the authority to write that quote-unquote guidance letter, and certainly not to bypass the state and go directly into every school district in America with a threat.
Yeah.
It was unprecedented. And it was, so the assault on the rule of law was the direct assault. People said, why are we even having to talk about that? Well, because it matters for us to have our Constitution and for a law for you to understand. If someone can unilaterally take their pen and change what a word means, then there is no stability in any law.
Yeah.
Senator...
And then that's anarchy at best.
Senator, one question I have. Donald Trump is the presumptive Republican nominee, and he clinched enough delegates today to claim that victory. He has said this isn't an issue. It needs to be left alone. Do you agree with him on that?
No, I don't. I understand what he's saying in that this is something that at the local level, a private business or whatever, Target made their decision to not make it an issue, and it's cost them plenty. So if that's your choice to not make it an issue, but in public facilities, there are laws that do govern that. And Title IX was predominantly with education and whatever, that is a law.
Right.
And for him to say it doesn't matter, I suspect someone will have to draw alongside him on this one, because the changing of a law and then the imposition of someone's opinion and their feelings over the safety, the feelings, the modesty, the decency, all the things that have been part of our culture, part of our heritage, part of our language,
Right.
Those have to be defended. They have to be.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just had one other question, but David, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, one question I also had, Senator. I know it's easy to sort of say woulda, shoulda, coulda, but I read an article, I think, from the Tennessean today that stated that roughly $1.2 billion is what Tennessee receives from federal funding under Title IX. If this thing goes all the way to the Supreme Court and, Tennessee loses that federal funding, well, what do we do? Do we raise taxes? Do we cut education?
No, because you know what? If we got rid of Title IX, that's our money. I mean, we send money to Washington. Washington doesn't, well, they do print it sometimes. I'm on top of that now. I can't say that anymore. They're not supposed to be printing money, let's put it that way. But the money that they get is what we send up there. Then they send it back about a dime on the dollar after it goes to their waste mill. But then they put about $100 worth of regulatory restrictions on our using that dime they gave us back out of our dollar. So if they want to take $1.2 billion out of our $10.4 billion education budget, and then we can teach our children and educate our children and have our children safe in our schools, 10%, you know what? We can tighten, we can figure it out, and I think we would be able to eliminate some of the costs that are associated with compliance to Title IX rules. I suspect we'd end up with more money for the classroom.
Really?
Just by virtue of us not paying that money to the federal government, you're saying?
I'm sorry, you were breaking up, Dave.
My apologies. I'm just trying to understand. You're saying that if we lose 10%, and we're just using that as a round number,
$1.2 billion, right?
Right. If we are losing 10% of our funding, can we really tighten education to the point where we won't miss that?
I suspect we could, and I'll tell you why. Because a lot of that money is spent to pay and to accommodate clients in things that really don't make sense. There are some things that we would continue to do, obviously, but and you have to draw a line in the sand. If something's not worth drawing that line in that sand, worth dying for, then what in the world is worth living for? If you don't have some standards, and if the dollar becomes your master, then you've been so cheap. We're smart people. We can educate our children. We can do it correctly. And this is a rhetorical question, too. I shouldn't have been sucked into that because my opinion is they will not be withholding money. And the more states, rather, that join in saying, you are not going to bully us into that corner, then there's strength in numbers. And you've seen one child picked on in the playground,
right,
and a bully coming up, and then finally when another person comes up, and then maybe two or three more, all of a sudden bullies typically tuck tail and run.
I got you.
And so part of this is our responsibility to stand up on behalf of our LEAs.
Right. Well, Senator, I want to thank you again. Well, we're going to run into a little bit of post legislative session question. Now, I know that you and your husband have to be at least a little relieved, although your travel schedule tells differently. How have you done with the session being closed?
That's the busiest time of the year for me. Session is organized chaos. and it's in Nashville, and you can get a meeting together real quickly, and everyone comes to see you, and you can see 7 different farm bureaus and FFA groups and 4-H groups and leadership groups, all, in a matter of a few days. But when we're out of session, I do something I found out that I'm the only member of the General Assembly that does it. but I go for town hall meetings in my 7 counties 1 week out of the month, and then the other week I'm available to travel where needed, when needed. And the third week I have to go to Nashville because I'm a member of the Government Ops Committee, and
Right.
we have sunset hearings, we have rule hearings, we have government ops that have been audited, performance audit, financial audit, and so we are a multifunctional committee that meets year round,
You're right.
2 days during the off session. So.
Well, and I do want to give you props for us here locally. You've been in Marion County a lot this week, and you did offer to come in. And after hearing your travel schedule, I told you that we'd have you phone in because I felt sorry for you. So,
Bless your heart. I appreciate that. I did start out real early this morning in Spencer and had meetings up there till around lunchtime. Went down the mountain back into McMinnville, had meetings there till about 4:30, and got home about 4 till 6. So it was nice that I didn't have to hightail it back over the mountain down to Marion County, straight from McMinnville. And I appreciate that. That is helpful to me.
Compared
I do
to
appreciate it.
compared to many Senate districts, you do have a very large district and cover
It
a
is.
lot of ground.
It is.
It
is a lot of.
I applaud your effort trying to appease all of these people in so many different counties because you've got a large district.
even Democrats like Josh.
I tell you what, in this district, if you know, on my card, I don't talk about parties, I talk about values. And the people of this district, even though 6.5 of the courthouses are still Democrat, some of them have changed, but the people are conservative. They're flag-waving, God-fearing, freedom-loving. They do want personal responsibility, personal accountability, all the things that our values are common. And or else I would won with 65% of the vote.
Yes, you did have, and actually, I believe you ran against a Democrat here in Marion County, and you
Yeah.
had a very good
I
showing.
did.
You had a very. Do you have you're up for election again this year?
I am up for re-election.
And-
it doesn't seem like it's been 4 years, but it has.
It has flown by, hadn't it? So you feel pretty good,
It has.
but you're working hard.
All right.
It's been hard. And one neat thing, I was looking through some mailers that I sent out last time, and there were 8 issues that I wanted to address when I got to Nashville, if y'all would let me work for you. And when I looked at it, I said, well, we did this one. We had done all 8. Wow, this is exciting. And so it kind of pumps me up to see that. But sometimes you get so busy, you think, have I really accomplished what I came here to do?
Right.
And that was kind of a reinforcement and an encouragement that there it was on that flyer, and absolutely we had done it. So
Right.
it's worthwhile. And when you help individuals in interfacing with the agencies in Nashville,
Yeah.
it makes you feel good when you actually can do hands-on help to resolve an issue.
Yes, I've abused
some
your office
administration.
quite a bit.
Well, Senator, we sure appreciate you joining us on the show tonight. I could sit here the whole hour and ask you because I am so intrigued with the legislative process, and I could talk to you in a whole hour. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Josh, the next time I'm down for my town hall, try to come up there.
I am going to come to meet you, but I'm going to ask you some hard questions now.
That'll work.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, all, and y'all have a great evening.
You too. Thanks.
Thank you.
Coming
Well-
up next. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Coming up next, we'll have Sam Anderson from the Jasper History Museum telling us some of the events coming up and a little bit about the museum. But right now, we're going to take a break, take a look at some of our sponsors.
Welcome back to the show Beyond the Talking Points. We just had Senator Janice Bowling on, and I enjoyed speaking with her, even if she was Republican. I've got more Republican friends than Democrat. Joining us now, Sam Anderson from the Jasper Regional History Museum. I serve on that board with Sam, and I've invited him out today to talk a little bit about some festivities coming up. And I want to know more because I have to tell you, I work a lot, and I've missed a few meetings. Sam can vote aye on that. Yeah. Tell us, there's something coming Monday. There's a dedication Monday, and I want to know more about it. What's going on?
Well, Monday, several things are going to happen at the museum, and that's located at 705 Phillips Avenue in Jasper. That's the museum's across the hall from the old City Hall.
Got him working now. Okay. So tell us, we didn't even have your microphone on. I'm sorry. Monday festivities going on. Tell us what's going on.
Well, we're going to be presenting to the public in a dedication of the first fire truck that the city of Jasper purchased back in 1961. And
what year is that truck? Do you know?
What year? 61.
So it was brand new?
Yeah.
It wasn't a used truck?
No.
I didn't know if it was a new or used truck.
I believe, I've been told that the city had something that another volunteer fire department had handed down to them and used it for maybe 4 or 5 years. But this is the first one purchased.
Wow. And it has been completely refurbished. And who did that?
Chris
Ridley, complete. Now, is it a red fire truck or a white fire truck?
White.
It's a white fire truck.
It's white, because the first one was white.
I'm not even on the board, and I know more than you do.
Well, I know some of these questions, but I just want to make sure.
Again, I've been told that all the different fire departments back when they were being formed way back, all picked a color.
Oh.
And so, Kimball is green, Whitwell might be red, and Jasper said, well, we'll take white.
We'll be white.
And that way, if they all had to come together to fight a big fire, they would know what truck was doing what.
Say, I didn't know that.
I confess I didn't either.
Well, good. I didn't know that.
But anyway, that's going to be on display starting around 11 o'clock on Memorial Day at the museum.
At the museum.
And also on that day, the museum is going to be doing some fundraising efforts. First of all, we're going to be preparing and selling hamburger and hot dog plates.
All right. So you're grilling out.
Yes.
So if somebody out there don't want to grill out, but they want a good hamburger, want a good hot dog,
yes,
they come to the museum across from the annex there on Phillips Avenue.
That's right.
How much?
Have lunch with us.
Have lunch.
Hamburger or hot dog, chips, dessert, and a drink for $6.
It's a bargain.
Can't beat it.
It's a bargain. Are you cooking?
No.
Oh. Well.
I'm collecting.
I want that job. Count the money.
And also, we're going to do a raffle. This was something that we just came up with about a week and a half ago. All these people were expecting to be there. We're going to have a raffle too. And I would like to just read off a list of some of the businesses in the county that have given us something for our raffle. And we want to sell all these tickets and many, many more for people to come and participate in the raffle. You buy a ticket, $5, and you get a chance at any and all of the prizes or gifts that have been given by these businesses.
Oh, okay. Who all gave for that?
Well, you're going to have really good chances because we've had good response.
Looks like.
Nigga Jack Barbecue, Lodge Manufacturing, Cracker Barrel, Raphael's, Barnes Tire, Western Sizzling, AutoZone, El Toro Restaurant. You've been there.
I've been there every Saturday night.
Pizza Hut, Dairy Queen, CVS Pharmacy, and Waffle House.
Oh, wow.
So
I've been at the Waffle House, too.
Well,
so
one per ticket. Yeah.
So they buy a ticket for $5. They have a chance at any of this stuff.
Yeah.
Buy a hamburger or hot dog for $6. They get to see the fire truck. And is the museum going to be open that day?
It will.
Museum's going to be open that day. Admission's always free to the museum, but
Yes.
you'll take a donation.
We will.
Because he'll be collected.
Yeah, because you're counting the money. You know, the museum, I have to tell you, I've had the privilege of working with them, and not as much as I like a lot of times because of conflicting schedules, but we have a great museum in Jasper. We've got a huge amount of just great memorabilia, whether it's from the high school, the old Pryor Institute, the old stores there on the square in Jasper. We've just got a smorgasbord of stuff down there.
We sure do.
It's
And-
been about a year since I had been in there, but I remember it because it took me a long time to go visit it for the first time. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit of a history nerd, and I could have spent 2 days in there with the amount of stuff that they've got archived in there. It's really an impressive getup, and to be doing it on a shoestring budget makes it all the more impressive. So, now, Sam, are you still involved in the fair as well?
I am.
Do we have the official dates for this year?
It is 1 week later, so it's September 27th through October 1st
Oh,
for the
wow.
Marion County
Okay.
Fair.
All right.
So you see, one of my first dates with my wife was at the Marion County Fair.
And she,
Oh, okay.
And we've been happily married for 4 years now. So
Okay.
see, bring your sweetheart out to the fair.
I got a picture of the fire truck that the way it looked like a year and a half ago, before the restoration started.
oh, really?
You got that with you?
Yeah.
All right. So there it is.
Oh.
Well, no,
cow.
no, that's way back in the 70s.
So that's what it looked like, sort of new.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, can we get the other one?
We gotta, they're gonna have to zoom in on that.
Yeah.
While they're doing that, where was this fire truck at? I don't ever remember seeing it in town.
The fire truck, when it was taken out of service in 2000, is the date I was given. It was just parked at the fire hall behind Jasper.
So it ran up till 2000?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Really?
Yeah.
So 40 years.
Yeah. And
All the fire chiefs
there-
across the county just drooled.
that's the way it was about a year and a half ago when the city
Holy
gave
cow.
it to the museum. The discussion was going on, well, it's just sitting out there, it's not being used, it's just rusting away. Let's take it to the scrapyard. And somebody spoke up for us and said, no, let's offer it to the museum right across the street from the old city hall. Let's see if they'll take it. Let's see if they can find some way to restore it and have it on display. So that's where we are today.
And it's finished. Dedication on Monday.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just incredible. And it actually runs.
Yeah.
It's just not the paint.
It's not
just-
cosmetic.
it's just not cosmetic. It'll actually run. That's pretty incredible.
You know what you ought to raffle off? Opportunity to drive the fire truck around town with the lights on.
Yeah,
You'd
yeah,
sell
yeah.
out.
Kids would go for that, wouldn't they?
Exactly. Joy riding in a fire truck, everybody's dream come true.
So there's a new, I guess, shed, for lack of a better word, built out there at the museum.
Pavilion. That's what
and
I like.
Display pavilion.
That is a great word. That's its new home.
It is.
That's its new home. So
Yeah.
people walking the track, they're actually going to see the fire truck, and so that they know that's the first fire truck the city of Jasper ever purchased new. That's a great piece of history.
Do y'all ever have people call in to this show? Or can you do that?
We will.
We
next
will
week.
eventually.
We had a
next
little bit
week.
of.
I was going to offer one of these to somebody calling in if they could answer a question.
David is calling you right now.